If you're considering moving to Germantown, Maryland, but you're not sure if it's worth it, then this video is for you. I'm going to go over the pros and cons, the good and bad of living in Germantown, Maryland, so you can determine if it's the right place for you to move to. So let's just jump right into it. Hey everyone, my name is Eddie and I'm a realtor here in Maryland. And after watching this video, you determined that Germantown is the right place for you to move to. Please reach out to me. I would be happy to help you with your move. All of my information is listed below. You can also click on the link to schedule a one-on-one call with me. We'll get on Zoom. We'll talk about the best places to move within Germantown and we'll get a plan together for that move. And if you determine that Germantown is not the right place for you, no worries. Head over to my channel where I cover all of the surrounding cities and towns that you should be focusing on if you want to move to Montgomery County. Germantown is located in Montgomery County, Maryland, which is ranked as the #1 healthiest county in the entire state of Maryland. It's also ranked as the #1 most diverse county in the entire state as well, and just the overall second best place to live in Maryland. Montgomery County itself has over 1 million residents, and Germantown carries just about 90,000 of those residents. And even with how large Germantown is, it does not have its own local government. It's considered an unincorporated town, and it's actually run by Montgomery County itself. And if you look online, it's really considered a suburb of DC, even though it's located in Maryland. And it sits right on top of I-270 and Route 355, which are the major commuter routes that will take you from Frederick to Washington, DC, which actually brings us to our first pro of living in Germantown, which is the location. This is one of the main reasons that people move to Germantown. They want to be close to places like Washington, D.C., or Northern Virginia, or southern areas of Montgomery County like Rockville, Silver Spring, or Bethesda. And they're normally weighing the cost of living in those cities, which is significantly more expensive, versus a place like maybe Frederick, farther to the north, which is significantly more affordable, and Germantown is seeming like the perfect middle ground to them. But if you live in Germantown and you want to go to a place like Frederick, it's only a 25-minute drive into downtown. And if you're looking to commute to a place like Washington, D.C., it's only going to take you 35 minutes to get from Germantown to Washington, D.C. with zero traffic, or if you go early in the morning. But if you're going during rush hour, it's going to average more like an hour. And if there's any accidents on the highway, just forget about it. It's going to be significantly more than that. And if you're looking to drive to a place like Baltimore or Annapolis, they're both about 50 minutes away with no traffic. But what I've noticed is that most people that work in Baltimore or Annapolis are not living in Germantown. There's many more suburbs and communities closer to those areas that are similar in price range. So you won't find many people living in Germantown and working in one of those areas. Now, speaking of commuting, that brings us to our second pro of living in Germantown, which is the public transportation. There are great county-run bus services that run all across Germantown. Nearly every single development in Germantown is covered by some sort of bus service. There are dozens of routes all across the town. So if you're living in Germantown and maybe you want to go without a car or you don't have a car, it's actually very doable. You can get to all the commercial and retail centers within Germantown with using those bus routes. So it's really convenient if maybe even one family member has a car and another doesn't. And another great thing about the public transportation in Germantown is that there's a MARC train station. And this is the route that will take you from Frederick, well, really Brunswick, through Frederick all the way to Washington, D.C. to Union Station. Now, it will take you about an hour to go from Germantown to Union Station on the MARC train. But if there's traffic on I-270, it might be better for you to sit on a train and actually be able to focus on something other than the roadway for an hour rather than worrying about the cars around you for an hour. So again, if you want the option not to drive in Germantown, you absolutely have that here. But that is not the only good thing about living in Germantown. The third pro of living in Germantown is the schools. Niche.com ranks all public schools in Germantown as either an A or B rating, with most of them having an A rating. And Montgomery County consistently ranks as the second best school district in the entire state of Maryland across a variety of categories. It has highly ranked sports programs, academic programs, and ranks very high as a great place for teachers to work. And whether you're moving here to get your kids in a great school system or you're moving here just to be close to work, there are plenty of things to do in Germantown. And that brings us to our fourth pro of living in Germantown, and that's the activities. Germantown has a ton of things to do within and around it. One of the most popular things to do in Germantown is go to Topgolf. And if you're not familiar with what Topgolf is, it's a high-tech, all-weather golf driving range where you can play different games and the balls are microchipped. They also have their own restaurant attached to it, and there are servers that come to your table and bring you food and drinks. And it's just a really popular place to go with a group of friends or even hold a party. And if you're into more outdoor activities, Germantown is actually flanked on both sides by very large forested parks. You have places like the Great Great Seneca Stream Valley Park on the east side with 1,557 acres and miles of walking trails. And on the northwest side, you have Black Hill Regional Park, which is a 2,000-acre park with a massive freshwater lake where you can go paddleboarding, boating, kayaking, and fishing. And you can even rent boats from their main dock. And they also have very popular mountain biking and hiking trails. And if you're into mountain biking, you also have Schaefer Farms in Germantown as well, which is a massive mountain biking complex that's very popular to go to. And one of the biggest activity centers in Germantown is the Maryland Soccerplex. And this is actually one of the biggest in the region. It's a massive indoor-outdoor sports facility that has 21 natural grass sports fields, 3 artificial turf fields, and 8 indoor convertible basketball and volleyball courts. And in the park, there's also 2 miniature golf courses, a splash park, a driving range, an archery course, a community garden, a model boat pond, and a bike park with a pump track, and an indoor tennis center, and an indoor swim center. And this is one of the biggest draws to people moving to Germantown. If you have kids or you want this activity center nearby, there is so much to do here. But it is not the only great thing about living in Germantown. One of the best things about living in Germantown is pro number 5, and that's the shopping and dining. You have pretty much everything you need right in Germantown itself. You have the Milestone Shopping Center, which is the biggest in the area, with your big box retailers like Walmart, Home Depot, Target, Best Buy, and a ton of restaurants. You also have multiple grocery stores nearby, like Giant and Wegmans. And there's also a ton of smaller commercial retail centers spread across Germantown. So pretty much wherever you live in the town itself, you're going to be within 5 or 10 minutes of everything you need. And Germantown also has a ton of medical facilities. You have Holy Cross Hospital right in town and a ton of local doctor's offices. So if you want to be close to your doctor, be close to your shopping, be close to your dining, Germantown pretty much has all of that within 5 or 10 minutes. Now, those are the great things about living in Germantown, but what's not so great about living in this area? Well, I would say the first con of living here is that there is no charm to this town. And this is because it's really just a big suburban sprawl. There's no downtown, no historic districts that you can drive through, not a lot of places to walk and shop. They're all the commercial and retail shopping centers that you're used to. Sure, you could walk around those and you could go around your neighborhood if you live in one with sidewalks or maybe some nice roads to walk, but you're not going to have the historic downtown like you'd find in Frederick or a place like Baltimore or Annapolis. Now, for most of you, this won't matter at all. You don't really care about going and walking in a historic downtown or a place with charm, but for some of you, this really does matter and it really wouldn't be the right place for you. And the second con of living in Germantown is that it's congested. And being right on I-270 and Route 355 with 3 major exits going on and off of the highway, this area gets crowded. And if there are any accidents on 270, that rolls over into Germantown, and all of the rush hour impacts this area as well. With there being so many houses in such a small area, it's a very dense suburban area, there are a lot of cars on the roadway here. And that leads us to the third con of living in Germantown, which is the housing market. Now, let me start off by saying that Germantown is significantly more affordable than a place like Rockville or Silver Spring or even Bethesda. So people that are looking in those areas find Germantown and think that the prices are great. But compared to other surrounding areas, there is a big difference. At the time of this video, the median price point for a townhouse in Germantown is $415,000. And while this may not sound too expensive, that's because so many of the houses or townhouses in Germantown are the 2-level townhouses with a basement with just over 1,300 square feet, compared to the newer 3-level townhouses or 4-level townhouses with a basement that you'll see being constructed right now. And if you're looking for a single-family home in Germantown, they have a median price point of $740,000, which again, if you're comparing to a place like Rockville, Silver Spring, Bethesda, or Potomac, it's going to seem like a deal. But because so much of Germantown is made up of these neighborhoods, these developments, these residential areas, that brings us to our fourth con of living in Germantown, which is that there's no nightlife. If you're looking to go out for a night on the town or maybe looking for a good place for singles, Germantown is not the place for you. You'd be better off in downtown DC or downtown Baltimore, but not Germantown. This is more of your suburban sprawl, like I said. So not much going on other than maybe Topgolf and some sports bars, but you're not going to have your downtown scenes like you're going to find in DC or Baltimore. But that's what people like about Germantown. It's more of that low-key suburban feel while being close to everything they need. So all these cons really outweigh the pros of living in Germantown, which is why we're seeing so many people moving to this area. And if that's you, if you're considering moving to Germantown and after watching this video, it's the right place for you, reach out to me. I would be happy to help you with your move here. The best way to do that is go in the description or in the comments below and click on the link to schedule a one-on-one consultation with me. Or if you just have a question, something really quick, send me a text. I would be happy to answer that as well. And if Germantown is not right for you, no worries. Head over to my channel where I cover so many of the surrounding cities and counties around Germantown where you can find the best place for you to move to. And whether that move is 2 weeks away or 2 years away, it's never too soon to connect with me. You can also hop on a call with me, send me a text, send me a question. I would be happy to help you as well. And as always, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you stay up to date on all of my videos about moving to Maryland.